actually has some news today. We actually did a big story in USA Today about Enjoy, which is a very interesting concept. It's kind of an amalgamation of Amazon, kind of personal e-commerce service at your home. It's basically, if you'll indulge with me, it's almost kind of like a genius bar for everyone from your home. So Ron, tell us a little bit about Enjoy and what you hope to do and achieve with it.
Thank you, John, and welcome everybody. It's great to be here. We launched a new company today called Enjoy. It's what we call a personal commerce platform, and it ties exactly to what Jason just talked to you about. I mean, we're a perfect company to enable this whole connected home. So if you think about how we shop today, we have stores where about 90% of the merchandise is bought. We've got online, which is about 10%, which is relatively new, 20 years old, and that's it. Stores are great for broad assortments, but you do the work. Online's very convenient, but there are times you need help. So if you want to really do a connected home, the pain point is how do I set it up?
Yeah.
So with Enjoy, you can order an item from us, and we'll actually just pick a time and place, and we'll deliver a person who will hand deliver the product you ordered, spend an hour setting it up, and it's the same price, it's free, that you'd pay buying at Target or Best Buy or from Amazon.
So this kind of fits into this whole Internet of Things concept, especially at the home, where for many cases the iPhone has become the hub of the digital home. And somebody I talked to a few minutes ago kind of referred to this as the Internet of Things meets Geek Squad. Is it kind of...
It's really not. I don't look at it that way at all. The Geek Squad, the Genius Bar are really designed when something's broken or you need something fixed. Most people want to do more, but that's hard. So for example, I'm wearing the new Apple Watch. Well, how do I sync that to my phone? What's the best way to help have that product really improve my life? Well, that's something you need someone to help you with, right? So it's how you do more. It's not that it's broken. It's how to get started.
So in a sense, it's overwhelming the amount of products we have. So for instance, if I want to install Sonos and I want to have that piggyback off of the iPhone, so ideally I contact you, the product arrives, they install it, they show me how it works. You mentioned the Apple Watch.
Yeah.
That might be a prime
It'd be a great
candidate
product for us.
because it's a fairly complicated product to learn how to use.
Yeah, but I'll give you another example. It's really interesting. So on May 19th, AT&T has picked Enjoy to be its smartphone partner. So throughout the AT&T website, they will market, you can now enjoy your phone. So order your next iPhone, for example, from AT&T. When you get to the cart, you pick the Enjoy button, and then it leads to our scheduler, and you pick a time and place, and we hand deliver your new smartphone. And we can do that in as soon as 4 hours, because we have experts in every community. So you can get a new phone whenever, wherever you want it, your office, your home, a coffee shop, for free, for the same price as going to the Apple store down to the store.
So how do you envision your customer base? I mean, typically, would it be, say, for instance, this country's getting older, and I think there's kind of a phobia among a lot of consumers about using technology. They're afraid of using it, or they're intimidated by it. Is this something?
I think, John, I think that's actually the myth. We've done a lot of research on this. The truth is everybody needs help. When I started working at Apple, doing the Apple stores in 2000, there were kind of these heroes who I can figure out how to set up my Mac.
Right.
Then we launched personal setup, and 90% of the people picked it. Because nobody wants to spend time integrating things. They want to start enjoying their product. So we've done all this research, but it's young millennials who want the convenience that I pick a time and they show up early and it's just delivered to me with a little help, to a young mom who wants to make movies with her GoPro camera. Like when we deliver your GoPro camera, we literally import video, shoot video, import, edit, share before we leave your house. That's a real good starting way to buy a product. And so a young mom likes it, and then there'll be older people who want help who will love it too. So the audience is really not a demographic, it's a psychographic of people who want help.
You have had a long, incredibly successful career in retail, and I'm wondering, for the entrepreneurs out there, how you leveraged or picked pieces from what you learned at Apple, JCPenney, other places, and applied that to a startup with such ambitious hopes.
Well, my advice would be the most important thing you can do is trust your intuition. We've all taken a different journey. We all have different experiences. But if you believe something and it keeps talking to you, trust it. Then get as much advice as you can. Now, that advice can come internally from your experience, but the best advice is typically coming from people who can mentor or give you ideas, and then you just got to think deeply about things. Steve used to say, Steve was really famous for saying, Ron, if you think hard enough about a problem, there's only one right answer. And if you really think hard, you'll come to it. Too many people take their first instinct and go. But you got to think deeply. Like we opened this beautiful store on Fifth Avenue in New York, this glass cube.
You're talking about an Apple store.
At Fifth Avenue. It's like the most productive retail store in the world, but we got to the exact right answer for that location. To put that beautiful glass box, the proportions are perfect. It's an invitation to go underground, and it worked. But we really spent a lot of time thinking about what's the solution to that problem.
Was that, that must have been interesting. I mean, it's up to you if you want to talk about your experience at Apple, because I think a lot of people out here are fascinated by it. And in a sense, are you going to apply some of the principles you learned from Jobs and at Apple to Enjoy? And for instance, what are some of the kind of the list of things that you might bring to your company, or what type of influence?
Well, Steve was I've had a chance to work with a lot of really neat people, interesting people. Steve was the best boss I ever had. And interestingly, it's how difficult was he to work with?
Well,
he was actually delightful. So the myth about Steve is very different than the man. He was the best delegator I have ever worked for. But what Steve does, it's so precise in his vision of what he wanted that it was easy to go execute on that. And as long as you delivered something that he believed was the right way, he would let you go. I had complete freedom with the stores. I mean, every 6 months we'd sit down and say, let me show you some of the stores we're building. And so he was very trusting.
Well, also that he was very, very, very good at hiring people who were very good at what they did, and putting them in a position to succeed and trusting them, which is part of that myth busting, right?
The people that worked with him worked for a long time. And a lot of them, fortunately, are still at Apple, so Steve's legacy is living on. Apple's flourishing.
Yeah.
We all wondered what would happen. It's very clear that they're continuing to innovate, gain customers, invent new categories. It's really hard what they do at the scale they do it.
Yeah.
But people like Johnny and Phil Schiller and, Tim are doing a fabulous job.
So here's the last question I'll ask about Apple, because I'm going to ask you about Enjoy as well.
Sure.
I want to spend more time on that. But how do you think they handled the launch of the Apple Watch?
Well, it's easy to look back and say, you could have done it differently. I think they have been very challenged with most products lately that the demand for any Apple product is this big, and you've got to ramp up production, which takes time. So every phone launch, it can take, weeks to get that product. So they've got a demand issue. And then from a quality perspective, you got to ramp up supply. So when you have a issue like that where there's scarcity from day one, there's really no great way to manage it, right? Because everyone wants the product, we're frustrated we can't get it. So it's just a really hard problem. So I'm not critical of what they've done. I think you'd have to understand the circumstances inside.
It's a whole new
thing.
It hasn't been done before, and they're trying.
Yeah.
They're trying to anticipate so many variables that are moving at the same time.
I agree.
That's kind of like starting a company, like with Enjoy.
The common denominator of starting a company is uncertainty. The truth is you have a lot of ideas about what customers will want, what you ought to do, but you really have no knowledge. And it's hard to get knowledge in the planning phase. That's what's really fun for us at Enjoy today. We turned down our website. Please go visit goenjoy.com. We're now getting learning. We've had more visitors already today than we anticipated for the whole day, or at least that I did. And we're watching what pages they're on, what products they're interested in, what's their behavior.
What are they most interested in?
Well, right now they're interested in what is Enjoy.
Okay.
What is this new shopping platform? How does it work, right? And then, what can I enjoy? So what products do they offer? And we've got really neat things. We've got all of the best, phones. So you can get your iPhone, any Android phone, any Windows phone. Just go to AT&T and order and enjoy. We got the best computers. Lenovo and HP have given us their top computers. We've got really incoming things, relatively incoming, like the DJI drones. It's a great way to get a drone, and we'll actually come out and help you have your first flight. Pick a park, and we'll get that drone up in the air and take some images.
So interesting. So when you have people visiting, I mean, how logistically, how does that work? Because it sounds like it's it sounds like it's service intensive or capital intensive.
Well, it's hard because we've got to deliver a product. So when you order from Go Enjoy, all you do is pick a time and place. And for the same price as the store, one of our experts will show up wherever you want, your home, your office, a coffee shop, a park. They could show up right here if they could get in the building. And they'll be early. They will hand deliver the product, and then we'll go through an experience that was designed by the manufacturer. So DJI said, here's what I want to happen to the drone. Sonos, here's how we want the music system set up. Here's how the app, and here's what we want you to demonstrate. So our partners are designing the experience that our experts deliver. But then we'll spend, up to an hour getting you up and running. Now, if you're in a hurry, we'll leave early. If it takes a little, we'll leave late. But you might say, how do they do it? I mean, how could you do that for free? Well, the way it works is stores invest in physical things. They put all their money into buildings and rent and depreciation and fixtures and inventory, and we put all our money into that expert. Well, the reality is you can deliver a person today pretty efficiently and products, so that costs a lot less than building a whole store.
Yeah.
Well, all the pricing has to support a store because that's where 90% of things are bought. So we're just set up for this mobile, connected life where things are going to the home. Someone really has to go through the door to help a customer, right? If you want your watch to connect to your doctor, through medical records, you need someone to help you understand what are the apps I should use to do that. That's the complexity that Enjoy is addressing.
It's so interesting what's happening to the consumer experience now. You have literally services all coming to you. You don't have to.
Right.
It used to be you have to wait at home for hours waiting for somebody for the plumbing or the electricity. Now it's like if you want alcohol, there's something called an app called Saucy. They basically deliver alcohol to you within 5 minutes wherever you are. You could be in a park. You have this. It's this kind of economy where there's
what's driving this to me is obviously the phone enabled this freedom. All these mapping technologies that let you be so precise of when you can arrive. But the big enabler is people want the freedom to work mobily. Remember that we used to have these offices you'd go work in?
Yeah.
You think of a startup, everyone's working in an open environment. Increasingly, some of those days are at home. Well, does a young person want a store to be their office? Do I want to sit at the Apple store all day, every day, let someone give me a schedule, or would I rather have my office be my neighborhood? Would I rather wake up in the morning, put my hours in the app, and say, well, today I'm going to do a drone at Chrissy Field. I'm going to Phil's coffee shop to help someone with their smartphone. I'm going to an apartment in the marina to set up Sonos, and that's my day. And I have complete freedom over when I work, where I work.
Right.
And the thing that we're doing different at Enjoy is every employee is an employee. We don't have contractors.
I was going to ask you.
We believe strongly that the challenge of this mobile economy is these aren't great jobs. People love them because you get freedom to work when you want, but they don't have the hallmarks of a great job like benefits, security. So every employee, for us, we pay them a salary.
So how large is your workforce?
Well, right now we're just serving the Bay Area.
Okay, that was my next.
Next week we launch in Manhattan. And so those are the two markets we're in.
So you're going to start and build off of that.
But what's interesting, we have enough people in the Bay Area to be within about 30 minutes of every customer who might order from the Golden Gate Bridge down to San Jose, over to Livermore and up to Walnut Creek. So we're covering the Bay Area with enough people. In New York, we're serving the entire Manhattan Island and a good part of Brooklyn. So we've got a team ready to go.
So what do you anticipate being the most common type of installation? I mean, what do you think will be the most?
So here's what I believe.
Okay.
Every business has a key product that becomes the thing people do first. The Gap in the early days was Levi jeans. At Apple, the Mac was that, but the iPod put the Apple Store on the Mac. That iPod was the product that the first product they bought at the Apple Store. Mm-hmm. For us, it might be something like Sonos. Sonos, everyone loves music. The idea of a wireless home audio controlled by your phone is a cool idea. People are very aware of Sonos, but the market share is still low. So we're the one filling the pain point of I don't have to worry about setting it up, right?
Yeah.
So I think something like Sonos could be the product everyone says, wow, that's the way to enjoy music, and then they'll tell their friends, So I think there'll be a product like that becomes a real great use case for us.
Just kind of going back to your experience in retail, where do you think that industry is going? I know you tried to do things at JCPenney. You go to a Nordstrom,
Sure.
They got rid of all the cash registers, a thing of the past. You have tablets, you have some sort of digital payment system. Where do you think it's going, and do
Well,
some of
that's
those?
where I don't use the word retail anymore.
What do you call it? Yeah.
It's commerce. It's how we buy things, right?
Okay.
So there's really no pure play retail. There's no pure play online. All the hot little retail startups, whether it was, Warby Parker, Bonobos, Nasty Gal, what are they doing now? They're building stores. Because the online store has a market just like a physical store does, but at some point you've saturated the market. So now you've got to find a new way to reach customers. So you've got to move into that physical dimension.
Okay.
Physical stores like Nordstrom have invested in a ton of things like Trunk Club in their online store and initiatives. Right. So they're in the business of helping people acquire products. That's what Enjoy does. We help people acquire products, but our unique feature is unmatched personal service. Amazon's unique feature is unmatched convenience, right? So you've got to have a differentiator, but it's not that one's going to take over the world.
Okay.
We just have more choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And so what we're betting on is that in this on-demand delivery world where things are getting connected, that if someone can go through the door and provide help for the same price you'd buy in a store, there'll be a lot of products where someone says, that's exactly what I need. Like if Jason's here from August, he talked about this home.
Yeah.
That's the pain point, is getting started.
So I have one last question. I was going to ask you
Please.
about collision.
Sure.
This is for us. This is our first time here. What do you hope to gain out of a show like this? And how do you? Are you looking for potential partners or investors, or just to get the word out?
John, I think what it is when you do something new, you want to, as quickly as you can, let people know what you're doing and why, because there might be a connection that helps them. It's like Jason's a perfect example. We've spent a little time talking about Enjoy in August, but maybe there's someone else who has a product they're thinking about that's a connected home device or a home health, and they might say, boy, Enjoy might be a good partner for my product. So the real goal here is to stimulate thinking, exchange ideas. You never know where it's going to lead, but it feels like the right thing to do.
All right, cool. Hey, thanks so much. It was a very interesting company, incredible career and experience. This is Ron Johnson from Enjoy.
Thank you,
Thank you,
John.
everybody.
Thank you.